Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the tactics talk. You know, sometimes learning how to play the game, it's useful to learn how not to play the game. In order to learn how to play the game, we're going to look at a fairly perfectly executed loss right here, and it has a lot to do with initial positioning. I haven't talked about initial positioning for a long time, not really in depth. You can obviously position differently than the meta, right? If you've got a good reason, if you play it right, platoons help, especially if you want to do something super aggressive. And you don't always have to be hyper aggressive in this game. In fact, it probably pays to not be too aggressive these days. But you do need to be in a good position to help on the flank you're on. And just really sitting back and expecting everybody else to do everything, I think, is not a great idea. Now, you can sit back to some extent, but as long as you are able to affect the area that you've gone to. So let's take a look at this on my T-34. I know that I've got a pretty decent capability over in the factories. So part of the calculus is, A, I'm a heavy. It's easier for me to get over to the factories. There's a lot of cover to cover up my soft hull. I have a great turret and a hard-hitting gun with good penetration and 8 APCR rounds. We only have tier 8s and 9s here, so I feel like I'm going to have a pretty good day over here in the factories, or could have a pretty good day. So take a look at the deployment now and see what we got going on. The 103 and the Lurva are going to the middle factory area to play peek-a-boom across the factory. That is, in my opinion, a fairly useless place. If there are shots, great. The only way, though, that thing remains static and gives you those kind of shots is you have enough guys in the factory that the factory doesn't get rolled up, and then you get your flank turn. So there has to be, you have to look at the deployment and go, all right, this is the initial position I want. Is it tenable based on where the rest of the team is going? Take a look at the giant stack of people up in the northeast. You know, that's fine-ish as long as they do something with it. But if they're going to go just sit there, that's not great. And the one tank that hurt us, and I'm not saying one tank stops the team from losing, but one of the tanks, let's put it that way, that kind of hurt us is the Basante didn't come over to the heavy area. All right, you know, you don't have to send your heavy to the heavy brawl area every time. And it's fine as long as you do something. And that's kind of the key right here. So I'm going to come in here, and I've already noted all this, and I know that if they get aggressive at all in the factory, I'm going to have to pull out and not hang out in here. So, but what I want to do is get in here and see if I can get a couple shots. The good news is this position is forward enough here that I can do some work in the factory, but I'm not completely overextended. I do have to pull out of the factory pretty quickly, though, if they get aggressive. And this is what you're going to see right here. Notice they've got an Emil, a Sturb, a T-95. They have quite a few nice hold-down tanks. So a couple of those dudes are going to show up here pretty quickly, thinking the kind of the same thing I'm thinking. It's just myself and the Progetto here, so I know we're already in a bit of trouble. The Suma, the Lurva, I just shoot him in the face for some stupid reason. I should have gone for the gun slit right there. I might have had some kind of chance. So we'll come back here, and I'm already seeing a big stack, right? Skoda T-56, T-30B, T-34B, the Emil. That's not great. I'm not very jazzed with this current position right here, so we're keeping a close eye on it. Okay, 34B, there's the Emil 2. The Skoda gets a couple shots. I get a lucky snap on that guy. Wasn't fully zoomed. I did aim at the appropriate place, so we'll take that for what it's worth. And now I'm thinking, not great, all right? So what are these dudes going to do? Let's head over this way and see if we can change the angle and maybe get a cheeky shot on somebody who's not paying attention over here. Uh-oh, not good, Danny. I try to track him and force him to use a kit. He thumps the Progetto. And with the T-95 crossing like that, and because we didn't have anybody over here in this little area, one of these three guys, to keep the T-95 honest, he just trundled across, and now he's in our face. This position is no longer tenable. We cannot hold it with just the two of us, a T-95, and all those tanks over there. I'm suspecting the Emil, the Skoda, and the T-34B are all going to be pretty jazzed that the T-95 is up in our face, and here they come. So we're just going to get out of here. Back, 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 back. This was the plan all along. The Sturv K is over on the other side over there. And they're just going to come at us. Spider monkey time. I get a shot on him. And unfortunately, the 34B came around that corner, and based on my side scrape action, I'm exposed to this opening here. So a bit of a mistake positioning-wise, and then I kind of screw up by not locking my turret forward. I might have bounced that shot if I'd have kept my turret forward. So I've lost some hit points I didn't want to lose. And now we're going to back over here. Then we do a little more side scrape. We'll see if we can get a cheeky shot in his hatch. That guy's probably not too happy overall with that, but I'll take it. And now we're in trouble, right? And notice that the 103, the Lurva, and the Suma have not reacted yet. The 103 is just now coming back over here, right? So poor initial position of 4 heavies playing peekaboo with a Type 59. You know, it's fine to go to spots like that, but pretty quickly you got to go, nothing's happening here. Let me try to see what is happening and go, oh, geez, they are coming at us through the factory. You got a nice thunderstorm going here. So we're going to get some shots and we're going to get some damage. We shut down the T-34. We're backing out, and I don't love this spot at all because I can easily have someone come up behind me, which is what's going to happen right here. We do have some guys sort of keeping them honest. Unfortunately, the T-28 is getting jumped on by a Bulldog. So you can start to feel the collapse on this flank is starting to happen. We're going to have some serious work. Notice, and I haven't talked about it, let's go back over to the northeast and see what my team with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks on one flank has done. Nothing. Nothing. And it's kind of hard to roll up the zero line quickly because it's easy to walk into a buzzsaw and get shredded trying to do that, especially if only a couple of you are pushing. Not really helpful that the Basante's away in the back. The Cobra's kind of hanging out. The 2 Udes, the 0-3 I get. I wouldn't be pushing with that either, but the mediums are, so really most of our team is out of position. They haven't engaged a damn thing over on the zero line, and sometimes you make a bad guess on your flank, and this just happens. But the heavies for our part over here are not doing what we need to do to hold this push, and it is just going poorly from here. You know, if we'd have had the 103 with us or one of the other tanks, there's a good possibility this push gets mauled a lot worse than it did. In fact, the Lurva is, I don't know what he's doing. Has he actually turned around? He has. Okay, so he's waiting for people to peek through. He's finally turned around and started doing things. The 103 is in a bad situation because he just drives across the open right here. The T-28, I believe, that's unlucky right there. Kind of a hasty shot. Yeah, the T-28 got nuked because the Bulldog got him lit, and these guys all shot him in the side. So that TD, that anchor TD back there is dead, and that's very unfortunate for us. Skoda's trying to do his thing. We'll get a shot on him, I think. Oops. Okay, so what I did there is somehow, amongst all my clicking, I auto-aimed the T-95, and I couldn't really figure out why my paper wasn't there until I zoomed out here. So that would have been another 300 or 400 damage right there, unfortunately, that I missed out on. Was it going to change this game? No. Here comes the IS-2. So I can't go too far back, and I can't go too far forward. Down goes the 103. Very unfortunate for us. Put a shot on him. He gets one on me, and now I'm just getting gang tackled. The IS-2 has got the little 85 millimeters on there, I think. So he's got the stock guns. He's actually just tearing me up with the old double barrel. And then a hasty shot at the Sturv. I get into his track there and angle on the side. Try to turn around to the IS-2, but it ain't going to happen. And down I go. The Bulldog actually shoots me in the back right there. So we get 2,289, but it's just a pretty classic example of a deployment that wasn't terrible, but also wasn't great, and there was no real good reaction. Look how they've just come zipping through the factories. And really, honestly, on this map, this is how you lose this map most of the time. Most of the time. If you can stalemate in the factories, and to do that you need more heavies there doing a better job. If you're going to stalemate in the factory, you can win the other side and come around behind them. But they just rolled the factory because we had several heavies out of position, just not doing a great job doing what they needed to do. And like I said at the beginning, you don't have to play to the meta, but if you choose not to, and several other people choose not to, and the guys who go to the places that the heavies are needed don't do very well or don't quite do a good job of the micro positioning within that position, you're going to tend to lose more than you win when you do stuff like that, especially if it's constant. Now, if you have a good reason, like I said earlier, if you have a good reason, that's fine, but you got to execute it really well if you're going to play a low percentage play, right? That's why we don't see football games be constant Hail Marys into the end zone, right? Can be a great play. You can score a touchdown. You can get giant gobs of yardage. But the reason teams don't do that every play is because it's low percentage. So it needs to be done at the right time. This was a fairly classic example of how to lose in positioning, specifically on this map and in general as well in this game. And notice that the guys over on the other side, as usual, what I find on situations like that is the other flank starts to push after it's already lost. There's no real understanding or reaction as to what's going on. That is all I've got for today, guys. Just watch out there. Or not watch out, but look for your bad games because you can learn things from them as well. All right, we will see you.